This is the Franchise QB Podcast, where we empower entrepreneurs to win big in franchising. We huddle up weekly to educate our audience about the most successful small business model ever created, franchising.
Welcome to the Franchise QB Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Halpern, a 20-year industry veteran and entrepreneur. My mission is for listeners to achieve their American dreams of creating wealth and independence through franchise ownership. Every week, we speak with franchisees, franchisors, or vendors that support the industry. Thank you for joining us, and let's get started.
Joining us on the huddle today is Jim Stapleton, VP of Franchise Development with Caring Transitions. Welcome to the show, Jim.
Thanks, Mike. Happy to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you. So you spent 7 years as a sales manager with Regis and then entered the franchise space back in 2019 when you joined Caring Transitions, which is the subject franchise concept we're going to discuss today. Tell us a little bit about your background and what led you into franchising.
Yeah, I've been with Caring Transitions for almost 7 years now, but I've been in sales for 30. I mean, I was professionally sales trained back in the day doing door-to-door insurance sales, knock on someone's door, get in the house the old-fashioned way, sit at a kitchen table. And then, as you mentioned, Regis was with who I was before Caring Transitions, and not the hair place, executive office suites company. I ran 8 facilities for Regis in 3 different cities and 2 different states, and got 5 of them 100% full and profitable, up to getting them into the top 10 for the majority of 2018 in North America. The cluster here in
Congratulations.
hanging with the top people.
I know Regis is great. I mentioned in the green room that I was a customer of theirs in previous life, and to manage 8 centers and make them all profitable, like that's not an easy feat. So congrats on that success.
No, I appreciate that. Well, I was when I was with Regis, I always wanted a VP role. I'm always trying to climb the corporate ladder, right? They always saw me as like a sales guy. So I was putting my resume out there for sales VP roles and saw Strategic Franchising, and which is the affiliate company of Caring Transitions. Interviewed and didn't have any franchise experience, no VP experience, but they saw something in me and brought me in. And that's where I learned the franchise world was here in-house. We've got some major players within Strategic and Caring Transitions, got a great team, got great leaders here to not only just teach me the franchising world, but also, how to be a leader and lead a team and to do the impossible. I mean, our team has really been rocking and rolling the past couple of years, selling 79 franchises in 2024 and selling 73 last year.
Wow, that's awesome. And we're going to get into the Caring Transitions brand, but I'd be remiss if I didn't mention when you and I met for the first time at franchise convention with FranServe. I don't know if you remember, but it was my mom's 70th birthday, and I needed to sing her happy birthday with the whole crowd. And you were the guy you were my plant, because you're like, hey, I got a loud voice, I can do this. And we delivered a great happy birthday message to my mom. So thank you for that.
Yeah, if I have anything, it's definitely a voice that carries. So yeah, no, I was happy to be able to do that for you.
Great. So Jim, you talk to prospective franchise owners all the time. What do most people misunderstand about franchising before they even begin?
Yeah, I think a lot of people, when they're looking at, especially a franchise, they think that you need to have $1 million to be able to open up a franchise. Most times when people think franchise, they're thinking McDonald's or thinking Chick-fil-A, that you do need to be a millionaire to open up these different stores. Best thing about Caring Transitions being a low-cost franchise, meaning that our franchise fee is $58,900. For $120,000 all in, you can have a ready-to-roll business. The support, the marketing, the track to run on. We've been in business for 20 years and really have all the pieces in place to be able to have someone that has this dream of business ownership. One of the other things I love about my job is meeting all the different walks of life that come to us. You don't have to have any kind of experience. You don't have to be a business owner in the past. Most of our people come from corporate. A lot of them are C-level executives, serial entrepreneurs, people from the healthcare industry. People never did anything like this before, but they've always wanted to own a business. And so having a franchise that has a proven model, proven track record, and can really be that support for you is the key that a lot of small businesses coming out of the gate are missing. And it takes 2 years, the 2-year learning curve, right? For most people, they're going to do it on their own. A franchise actually helps to circumvent that, right? Make it a lot faster for somebody to be able to get up and going, start following the model and start making money.
Yeah, absolutely. So you recently had the opportunity to speak in Vegas at the International Franchise Association's main annual event, which is quite an honor. Obviously, they're looking to you for leadership and guidance. What do most successful owners, in your view, do differently?
Coming from my sales experience in 30 years, sales is what happens in between your ears. So I actually, during our workshop training, do the sales piece. And this is a lot of the stuff I talk about is, it's a lot of it's a mental game. If you think this is going to be hard, guess what? It's going to be hard. If you think that you're making a difference and you're giving back and you're running a profitable business, and that's exactly what it's going to be. But it all starts up here. It's setting that goal for yourself. It's having a plan to execute and then keep on moving forward. I mean, life happens in the highs and the lows, right? And when you hit that low, you don't just stop, right? It doesn't stall you out and be like, well, this doesn't work. Now, if you have that mindset going in of, no, it's never going to work. It doesn't work in my area. My zip codes are terrible, whatever excuse you're going to give yourself. Then yeah, of course, you're going to go back to, doing what you did in the past. We learn during those lows. So we have to be able to take this rejection or this failure and be able to take a step back saying, okay, that just happened. I can't change it. The goal doesn't change because of the circumstance around me. So what do I need to do to learn from this so that I don't do the same mistake again and then keep on moving forward? It's all
Yeah.
about momentum. I don't care if you're crawling, walking, running, or flying. Momentum's momentum. And we're going to get it at different points as we have this journey of business ownership, during those highs and lows.
Yeah, very cool. So let's get into what Caring Transitions does. For anyone listening that's not familiar with the brand, and they're hearing about it for the first time, how would you describe the Caring Transitions business in one sentence?
Yeah. So we take the stress of a downsize for a family member off of their shoulders so they can help their senior loved one in this new reality as that is their everyday. We do 3 different services. So we are able to move somebody, we can do an estate sale, and we can do a cleanup. But that's just the vehicle that gets the problem solved for the client itself. Most people don't, a lot of people don't realize how much work is in front of them.
Yeah.
And this is a very reactive thing. If we all knew the day something was going to happen to us, we'd make a plan the day before. And nobody plans for something like this to happen. It's always oh my God, this just happened. Now what do I do?
So Jim, if I can jump in, like, you see these things happen all the time with your franchise owners. What's actually going on in a family's life when they reach out to you guys?
Yeah, great question. So once again, being so reactive to the situation, mom got sick.
Yeah.
Mom had a heart attack. Maybe mom or dad passed away and it's too much house for mom. She can't do the stairs anymore. We deal with the only guarantee in this world. We deal with people getting old and getting sick. The only guarantee it's going to happen to all of us. And everybody's going to go through this at least once in their life with a family member. When I talk about what I do, I get the statement all the time of, God, man, I wish I would have known about this when I went through it. Because they are so stressed. A lot of times it's left on the kids. The senior is not going to be one boxing their own stuff up, right? So it's a stress for both parties. The stress for them is they're leaving their home, right? Place they live for 30, 40, 50 years, raise the kids, have the memories, the birthday parties, the Thanksgivings, and
Right.
going into a new strange reality. The stress for the kids is they have the house on top of their job and their family and everything else. So the house that's been lived in for 50 years, and there's so much stuff that they don't even know where to start. We had found that it takes the average American family about 9 months to go from start to finish when they're faced with something like this. And it's every weekend, holiday, vacation day, PTO day that they have has to go and do in the house because the house doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't magically get decluttered so that it can go in the market and be sold to afford where mom's going over to. So something that will take them months to do will take us a week or two because of the
Wow.
processes, the procedures, and the things that we have in place. And then the kids can help mom settle in this new strange reality. They can help them, be like, hey, let's go meet your neighbors. Let's see what activities are going on and help them settle in this new place.
So it seems like a tremendous value that Caring Transitions franchise owners provide is kind of a one-stop shop, one-call solution for the relocation, the downsizing, decluttering, and the estate sale. Is that accurate?
That is, yep. I mean, when it comes down to mentality of nowadays, everybody wants the one solution. Who wants to call 3 to 4 different companies, dealing with different people to be able to get one solution done? But I mean, reality is those are the pieces that have to be done before they can sell the house, right?
Okay.
So that's where we come in to be able to be that total solution. But it's not just the stuff; it's the taking care of the family itself is the main difference of people that come looking for our solution as a business because it's not just a moving company, estate sale company, or cleanup company. We are a transitions company. We're the all-in-one solution from start to finish.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because there's a lot of players in the home healthcare space, but you're differentiated by being this like turnkey solution for the transition, which is obviously the namesake of the business, but it's really compelling because not a lot of people offer this. So, what trends are driving growth, like at the macro level in the senior transition services space right now?
I mean, we're in the middle of the silver tsunami right now. As of last year, it was the most people turning 65 that has ever happened in the history of the world. More people that are hitting that mark to the baby boomers, and it's not even just baby boomers. The Gen Xers are coming next, right? So to to be the solution of the kids are busier. They've got their own things going on. They don't not taking every weekend to be able to go and clean out mom's stuff. And it's never an easy solution. I've never had somebody that I've asked, "Hey, have you ever gone through this?" How many people raise your hand if it was quick, easy, and hassle free? No, there's always a nightmare story that goes along with it, right?
Right.
So the difference between trying to do it on your own, and sometimes they try to do it on their own, and they are calling us up halfway through it, like I'm tapping out.
Yeah, and I think it's a great service for people like me and you that are in that sandwich generation where you have kids that you're still raising, and then you have like aging parents that have needs. So I mean, clearly this is a needs-based, recession-resistant business. Would you see that that's the positioning of the brand?
Yeah, I mean, once again, I talk to our prospects all the time, and they're like, "Well, I know my area." I'm like, "Awesome. Do me a favor. Drive 3 square blocks from where you live, because probably the place you're most common. You know the streets, you know the houses, you know the neighborhood, right? How many of those houses are you driving by? Is somebody going to have a heart attack tomorrow and need more care? How many of those houses are you driving by? The spouse is going to pass away this week, and now it's too much house for mom. How many of those houses are you driving by? It's a nightmare behind that front door. It's not always the houses with the cars and the bike in the front lawn that are the hoarder situations for the people that are living inside.
Right.
That's what we deal with every single day. It's to be that solution to really be able to wrap our arms around the family. It's a business that you can definitely give back to the family, the community, build a business you'd be proud of. And know at the end of the day, you're going to get a hug and a check after everything's done, because it's that much of a relief for a family.
Yeah,
You can
good
buy a
point.
McDonald's and feed the community, but at the end of the day, you're not like really made a difference in that family by that Big Mac we sold them, right? This in itself is that impact.
Yeah, so Jim, let's touch on client acquisition. I know that's a concern for a lot of new owners coming into the brand. Where does most of the work come from for your franchise owners?
So we actually have how you find customers is a two-prong approach. First prong is we have something called our grassroots marketing campaign. So there's 3 different industries that we solve a problem for. It's real estate professionals, assisted living facilities, and probate attorneys. We solve a problem for these 3 because we get them paid faster by the solution we provide. Real estate agents, they're kind of in the same situation that the family's in, right? The house has to be cleared out before they can stage it, do their walkthroughs, and sell the house. So a lot of them are doing the work right now themselves, where we can come in, take it off their shoulders, get it done in a week or 2 so that they can put it on the market. Assisted living facilities are a business. They got to stay 100% full all the time. So they'll recommend us to the family because they know we can move mom in ASAP. Not just move her in, but resettle her in the new place. Pictures are hung, favorite chairs on the same side, nightstands put away, beds put together and made, clothes are put away, everything's set up. We've coined a term called day one living, which means when this person walks into this place that is their every day now, what does that day one look like? Can they sit down on the couch, have a cup of coffee, and settle, and have the family there to be able to help them? Or are they walking into boxes that they're going to be living on for 6 months? They become a recluse in the place. They don't want to be, go outside the door because they're bitter they had to leave their home. And then finally, it's probate attorneys. No lawyer wants to deal with the minutia of how we going to sell the house once grandma and grandpa pass away. They just want to write a check to the kids. So
it seems like you guys definitely have like allies, right? People that their jobs get easier because your process is in place and you manage all 3 aspects of kind of getting mom or dad into that facility. And one thing that I think is kind of interesting is your CT bids kind of proprietary auction platform. Can you kind of explain why that's such an advantage for your adult caregivers that are kind of hiring you guys to clean out mom and dad's house?
Yeah, I mean, so CT Bids has revolutionized our business. It is our own online estate sale website. Any competition we have out there, this is the common denominator that nobody else has. So the site itself, the only people that can post anything on CT Bids to sell are our owners. So it's unlike an eBay or Facebook Marketplace, where if they have this unique item that they're trying to sell, there might be 50 others, 50 or 100 of that same exact item, because anybody around the world can post anything on there, right? But the point of CT Bids is to liquidate as much as we can, as fast as we can, so we can sell the house faster. That's the point of the website itself. We're not an estate sale company. Estate sale company is going to walk into the house. They're going to walk through the house. There has to be a certain value that family has to have in the house for them to even take the job on.
Right.
So there isn't a value with CT Bids. We're going to pull things into lots, something we think we can get a certain dollar amount for. And by selling things in lots, we're getting more items out of the house faster too. But it's all about liquidating as much as we can, as fast as we can. And the asset is really the house, right? That's where the family is going to make their money. But this vehicle that we have has been breaking records, every single month. We're doing tens of millions of dollars every year on CT Bids. We were number one in estate sales also, according to Entrepreneur Magazine, because of CT Bids.
So let's kind of touch on that. You mentioned the accolades with the CT Bid site and the volume. Any other brand milestones or recognitions that you're proud of?
Yeah, I run the sales team. So, we've been on fire the past couple of years. We sold over 200 franchises in the past 3 years.
Wow.
New owners.
Congratulations. That's a lot of growth.
Thanks. Yeah, we've had double-digit growth every single year since we've been in business for the past 20 years. The thing that I'm most proud of was 2024. We actually broke a strategic franchising record, selling 79 franchises in 2024. And we sold 73 last year. And right now we're at the fastest ramp up that we've ever had since I've been here in the past 7 years. We're on track to do about 80 this year.
Amazing.
So,
wow. Congrats. So, that leads me to my next question. Like, who is the ideal owner? You mentioned before that they don't have to have a specific skill set. I'm thinking they probably have to come with a great mindset and being able to embrace the methods that Caring Transitions recommends in order to help these families out. But who's ideal for you to come in and be a really successful franchise owner?
It's funny when you really peel back the onion. I've had titans of industry and some other business come look at Caring Transitions and fail miserably, because when it comes to the common denominator of who's successful in this industry, it's really the people that want to help these families. It's that caring heart. It's not just in the name. It's, the people that really, when they're sitting across from somebody in crisis mode, don't know where to start, they're up to their eyeballs, someone that's able to be like, I got you. Mm-hmm. The services itself, once again, is just the vehicle. It's really being able to take the stress off the shoulders of these families is what drives these people.
So they're calm under pressure. They can kind of like be a sounding board for the family and say, look, we're going to help you out. Like, relax, we got you.
Let me give you an example. So one of our owners that's right here in Cincinnati, one of my favorite things to do is ask owners, like, what's your favorite story? So one of the stories that she mentioned was she was sitting with a woman who just lost her husband. And as they're going through the house and talking about what to donate, what to put on CT Bids, the wife is like shutting down. She got tears in her eyes because she didn't want to sell any of her husband's stuff, because she felt if she was selling his stuff, she was getting rid of a piece of him. Mm-hmm. Now, if we were just an estate sale company, if we were just a mover, the compassionate heart piece where she's actually sitting with her, comforting her, trying to get her through this, that piece isn't there. Now, by Caring Transitions owner, though, that is able to sit and be able to talk her through this, being able to be respectful for the items that are in there. Remember, this isn't stuff. These are treasured items. These are treasured possessions that these people have collected all these years. So these are the different ways that, successful owners are able to, when you're just a piece of paper with a price on it at the end of the day, after they're doing all their shopping, what you want them to do is go, you know what? I'm going to go with Gina from Caring Transitions because I remember how she made me feel when she was here. That's the difference.
That's awesome. So, just to reiterate, it doesn't require someone with a senior care background or even a medical background to be successful as an owner, correct?
Not at all. Because we deal with the stuff and not with the person itself, there's no medical training, there's no medical requirements. If we get to set our own hours, it's not a 24-hour business like an in-home healthcare, where if the CNA doesn't show up, you're the one sitting with dad until the next shift comes in, right? Being able to set up your schedule and build your team around the need that's out there, driving the different services, helping out families on top of each other. I mean, that's what it's all about. There's a certification that somebody gets, which is a senior relocation transition specialist, which is a national accreditation, just showing that you're a professional in this industry.
Okay.
That's really the only certification that we have, but it's a simple test that somebody takes.
So is it fair to say that most of your new owners start as owner operators to really get the model and then ultimately they scale it with a team, or is that not accurate?
Yeah, no, that is correct. So they have to build a team for themselves. How much money somebody wants to make in this business all depends on how many people they have on their team.
Okay.
So everybody that is on the team is 2 employees that are bonded and insured. Very important for when you're going into assisted living facilities and actually going through, you think about our business, we're going through someone's drawers, right? That's, having it not be a contractor and knowing everybody's background check helps with that security in the house that we're going to be able to go through and make sure nothing's stolen and nothing's broken, and we'll get everything done from A to Z. The need is out there. The question isn't, am I going to find customers? The question is, can you build a team large enough to be able to handle the amount of need that's coming at you? Because in our industry, as much as they're going to be able to plan out jobs on their calendar about, different families are going to help, you're always going to have that ASAP need. You're going to have, somebody that calls them up and goes, "Hey, Mike, my uncle just had a heart attack yesterday. Needs to be in the facility on Thursday. Can you help me out?" Now, if your team is maxed out doing 1 or 2 jobs at the same time, you can't handle that ASAP. So, that's why it's so important to be able to build a team, a bench of people. There's one of our owners out of Oklahoma. She talks about a bench of people. It reminds me of like a basketball team where she's like, got these guys to be able to work this job, and I got these guys to work anything else that comes up, just in case something comes over the top. Because once again, with people getting sick and not knowing when that's going to happen, these being booked out for 3 months isn't a good thing because you're missing out on work.
Yeah, I mean, that's just takes an entrepreneur to be able to, deal with the zigs and zags that come along with business. I mean, sometimes when you got to ramp up, you got to figure out how to build your team and support that client. So to that end, like when a new owner joins, like how do you help them during launch and during the early ramp up when kind of their fear is at a peak and they're just kind of like new to the business?
That's a great question, because most people come to us, they're not business professionals, right? A lot of people don't come in with an MBA, but buying a franchise is the perfect solution to that. So my team is phenomenal. We've got a full line of onboarding coaches, business coaches, and even the CT bids coach that's with them for the entire time they own the franchise. Mike, there's a lot of franchises out there that are like, "Give me your franchise fee. Here's some information. Go get them, Tiger." And you never hear from corporate. So for us, we give them that full line support for the entire time. So as soon as they put money down on the franchise, their training starts. So we're going to give them not 1, but 2 different phases of onboarding coaches. Phase 1's more virtual upfronts, helping with different checklists, more virtual, setting up their business plan, getting their business entity, and really preparing them for the workshop where they'll come to Cincinnati and spend a week with us here in a classroom setting. Then they'll go to the on-site training with a mentor, be able to see it in real life of a move in a state sale cleanup. Then once they launch a business, we're giving them a phase 2 onboarding coach. That's more boots in the ground with them, helping them streamlining their processes, working with their team, making sure they're running a profitable business until a year is up, where they're like, "You know what, I got this." Then we're handing them out to a professional business coach that gives them that support for the entire time. So they'll do different calls with them, per month, per quarter. More or less, they're the ones that are there like, "Okay, here was your goal. Here's where we're at. Are we still on track to hit it, or are we way out in the weeds? And if we are in the weeds, how do we get you back on track?" Us as a franchisor, we make money not on the franchise fee that somebody pays. We make money on royalty. So that's kind of partnership you want, though, because it means that they're making money, we're making money, right?
Yeah, it's a good symbiotic relationship.
That's the kind of partnership you want to be in.
Yeah. So that sounds like a whole lot of support in the beginning and ongoing. In your view, when you look at the landscape of success in carrying transitions, what really drives success at a high level?
Success of an area depends on the person running the area. It has nothing to do with the demographics. It has nothing to do with the area they're in. So I get this all the time. Do people in New York and California do better than, somebody in the middle of the state? I got a lady that has got $1 million business and she's in Mechanicsburg. I'm talking about the middle of nowhere, Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. It's all because what she puts into the business. It's the way that she trains her people. It's the way that she gets the jobs done. It's the reviews she gets, And I mean, we've got people that are in major metropolitan cities that struggle because they can't get out of their own way. And as much support and everything that we have, we don't shove it down their throat. We allow people to be able to run their business and be able to support them to the goals they have set for themselves. We're not a franchise that's going to come to them going, "Okay, You're going to start with this one here. We need you to make this $1 million business, and in 5 years have 3 other ones. We ask them, what are your goals? 2/3 of our network only have 1 territory. So we're not one of these franchises that, force people to buy 3 or 4 that may never open, right? We want to make sure that people getting into this can take bite-sized pieces. And take baby steps into getting business ownership until they get the machine going. And then at that point, they're like, I'm ready for more. We'll have them write another short business plan to say what they're going to do in this new territory, and then be able to have them execute that plan in the new space. But making
Very
sure
cool.
that there is a plan in place.
So, Jim, you mentioned before that one of the advantages is that it's a lower cost franchise. It doesn't require a big construction project and a build out and a retail lease and all that. So what's the startup cost look like in item 7? I know the new FDD probably came out soon or will.
Yeah, it's out.
What's that range?
So it's anywhere from our franchise fee is $58,900. Startup costs are anywhere from $75,000 up to $123,000.
Okay, yeah, so it is very affordable relative to what's out there.
Yep. And as you mentioned, if they live in their territory, they don't need office space. They don't need warehouse space. They don't have to worry about all this overhead, coming right out the gate.
Yeah.
They can start where they live, with where they're comfortable with. And that's really how we structure a lot of these territories, is where you live. That's prime territory right there. That's what you're comfortable with. That's where, the businesses and the areas, and be able to service the community that's there. And then being able to expand out from there as soon as you're ready.
Yeah, it's also a big advantage from speed to launch, because you get through training and you can hit the ground running. You don't have to wait, so that's pretty cool. So, Jim, how about item 19? Do you provide any earnings guidance for candidates that are sizing up the carrying transitions opportunity?
Yeah, so our item 19 is pretty robust. We have it broken down by per territory and also by owner. And we give a very transparent item 19 to show like what our owners actually do. So everybody that's in our item 19 has been in business for at least a year. So like this 2025 one, there's 307 owners that make up the numbers that are in here. So we're not giving somebody a subsection of, they got to fit in within a certain demographic or a certain city. There's a lot of franchises out there that do that, kind of strip it down. For us, we break it into quartiles too. We got a top, we got a middle, and we got a bottom, just like every other business that's out there. So when I'm presenting this, I always ask people, when you're in business or in school, where did you usually sit? We're in the top, we're in the middle, and the bottom. And then we start comparing numbers along with where their skill set is and where they see themselves.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot of data out there to support the earnings potential, and there's a lot of owners out there that can also provide good validation. So that's really helpful. Jim, this has been great. Anything else you want to add to the mix before we wrap up today?
I always like to end, a lot of these podcasts with a story. My favorite story comes from a husband and wife team that's in Minnesota. So we talk a lot about the services, and we talk a lot about, the jury that these people go through. But my favorite story comes from, they were dealing with a daughter that just lost her mom and dad. So stressful as it is, right? So trying to get a chance to grieve, that you lost your parents, but you also have the house that has to go on the market. But they asked the question about, is there anything we should be looking for when we excavate through this house? And the daughter said, I'm looking for my mom's wedding ring. We know it's here somewhere. We can't find it anywhere. So about a week into the project, she gets a call from one of her owners, and or one of her workers, and she goes, I think I found it. It was in the shed next to the house in a toolbox.
Wow.
In an apartment, probably a safe place for someone, but it was a wedding ring. And sure enough, we're able to give it back to the daughter. Now, once again, if it wasn't carrying transitions and someone just going through and throwing stuff out and putting stuff on, garage sales and stuff like that, God only knows if that would ever went back to the family. But because it's carrying transitions, and we take the care that we do to go through everything to really make sure that we're searching for these tokens, that means so much to the family itself. That's the difference.
That's really special. Thanks for sharing that with us. Amazing that happened. And that's a real testament to how thorough the franchise owner is and what you guys do compared to what else is out there. So if anyone listening would like to connect with Jim and his team to learn more about becoming a franchise owner with carrying transitions, contact me at franchiseqb.com and I'll get you connected. Thank you so much, Jim, for taking the time to get in the huddle with us today.
Thanks, Mike. I really appreciate it.
You got it.
Thank you for listening to the Franchise QB podcast, where you're at the helm of your future as a franchise owner. If you enjoyed the content, please rate the show and recommend it to anyone that might be interested in franchising. Make sure to visit franchiseqb.com to subscribe to my newsletter and for an actionable playbook to go from walk-on to legend in your new business. Follow us on Twitter at QB Franchise QB and join us every week for a new episode. See you next time.
Visit franchiseqb.com to take the next step of your journey towards wealth, independence, and franchise ownership. And remember, when working for the man gets old, you must do something bold. Thank you for listening.